What was the sacrifice or sacrifices that you had to make to pursue the career that you have now?
This time last year, I was freaking out because I was like, I don't really have a spring season. I don't have many weddings booked. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I've done wrong. Like, do I just hang it up if I failed? Like, am I a failure with all of this? I broke everything down. I rebranded my business. I worked on myself. Who does Autumn want to be in here?
Has it been influenced by the fact that you were adopted?
Those teenage years of like, well, who am I? Where did I come from?
Yeah.
Why didn't they want me? I even went to the point in my personal life of changing who I was to make other people happy, to try to be included, to try to fit in with who I thought I needed to be around and who that environment was. And I think that's the ADHD and the autistic part of me, that it's like you're trying to mold yourself into what makes other people happy. When you realize that doesn't work either and you're only hurting yourself and you're the one suffering. I found my voice about 3-4 years ago.
What would you say to the Autumn before? What would you say to her now, looking back on your progress?
I'm still learning to love myself. Every day, every little day. You work a little bit harder to love yourself just a little bit more and to do things that keep bringing out the authenticity in me. I tell everybody to capture the action. You have to be in the action, so don't be afraid to show up and show out.
Hi guys, welcome back to another Hit Record. This is another episode as always, and the usual. I'm not gonna drop my social. It feels like I feel like I'm beating on a dead horse by dropping my socials. I really don't care about that. I just want you to know that this is a new episode, and we have a new wonderful guest. And she hails from Pensacola, and she just recently went on a world trip as a wedding photographer. All of which we will be talking about today. But not only are we going to be talking about photos, we're going to be diving into the life of
Autumn Phillips.
Wow! Can you add the applause here? Oh, actually, I just bought this, so I probably should learn how to add. There's an applause sound here. I know there is, but I'm going to do it next time. Anyways, continue, Autumn. Go ahead. What's your name, Autumn? And tell us what you do.
My name is Autumn Phillips, and I am a professional wedding photographer.
Ooh.
I like to call myself your wedding bestie.
Ooh. Professional wedding photographer. That's the kind of caliber that we're working with here, guys. Not amateur, not intermediate, but a professional photographer. You're more than welcome to acknowledge the audience too, by the way. This is like Deadpool, okay? There are thousands of souls watching through the camera right now. Hi! Hello, Mom! Hello, Dad!
There's something about me. If I look at a camera, I'm immediately gonna do like the whole millennial.
Yeah.
Woo! I don't mean to. It comes naturally like that.
Do you like being in front of the camera?
Not a lot. Ironically,
why?
Yeah, I am my own worst critic, and so I can work with anybody all day long.
Yeah.
I can tell you what looks good on you, what doesn't, how to do it, how to pose in front of the camera. I've got you all day, but myself, put me out there, I've spent the last 2 years getting a lot better at that. So this year, like the first of 2024, I set up with a friend of mine and booked a session.
Yeah.
And like had my makeup freshly done with Lena. She's been on your show.
Oh,
yeah.
Wait,
so Lena did my
really?
makeup. Yeah.
Can you say hi to Lena? She's gonna be.
I love you. I miss you.
Annalena Sierra?
Huh?
Annalena Sierra or?
No, they're in Atlanta now.
I know. Why'd you leave us?
I know, it's so sad.
You're giving me abandonment issues, Lena. We'll talk soon, okay?
But no, she did my makeup.
Yeah.
And I felt like a whole queen.
Okay.
So I had my photo shoot. I got dressed up. I had different outfits. And that was the first time I had ever actually had like professional headshots of myself, because I always just do them myself. I've never been on the opposite end to get that full treatment and that full experience that like I try to give clients and that kind of thing. So it was super cool.
Wait, are you talking about the profile picture? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the shoot.
I'm curious. What are some of the things that drive you to feel that way? Because it's usually there's a lot of people that we always meet that are really good at what they do, and when I asked you if they're good on camera, they're like, no, I wouldn't stay away from being in front of the cameras. It's just interesting. So I'm just curious, what are some of the things that run through your mind when it comes to
I've
being-
grown so much, like I
Yeah.
said, from like the person I was probably 4 or 5 years ago. But
Yeah.
it really comes with just how I see myself. It really comes
Mm.
with that insecurity, that internal insecurity of like not maybe picking out things of how I look or what I don't like instead of what I do, and not putting myself in like the right environments of people who build you up instead of tearing you down, that kind of thing. So we'll get into some of that a little bit later. But
Of course, there's a section where it's gonna be like AA, not for alcoholics. Okay, this feels like I'm gonna get canceled. Kino, if you're watching this, potentially cut this out. I don't know. But anyways, thank you for clearing that up. And is this your first
I'm a
time?
very honest person. I don't have anything to hide.
Honest. Okay. Let's rate our honesty throughout this podcast. Please leave us a comment to rate our honesty as well. What's your social security number? Let's see how honest you are.
There's a difference then.
I have a question though. It's like with wedding photography. Before you dive into that, please take us to a journey of who Autumn Phillips was when she was born on this earth, all the way up to now.
Oh Lord, we're gonna go way back.
Oh yeah, give us the summarization.
Y'all buckle up, Buttercup.
Start now.
Goodness. Well, I was adopted as a child. I was adopted as a baby, and my mom and dad. I was their only child. I was raised their only child, and I was very much an outdoorsy girl.
Okay.
So I spent a lot of time outside, and my parents loved going to Tennessee. We did all kinds of things. So I think my early picking up a camera type of thing would have been my dad like giving me one, and it was like back when the Pirates of the Caribbean first came out, and Walmart had these little teeny tiny little Disney cameras.
Really?
And I still have the thing too. And so he gave me that one day, and it's like I maybe 4 or 5, like I was tiny little person.
Yeah.
And I just went kind of from there. That little guy came everywhere with me, and I still have like all my collections of cameras.
Did it have the film?
Huh?
Was it the one with the
It was
film?
like an old digital camera though. It was like a little Walmart Disney digital thing. It took like 10 photos on it at a time kind of thing. But yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
did, and I took it everywhere with me.
Okay.
Like the thing I took on Tennessee trips, and sorry.
There's gnats everywhere.
When it wants to attack my face, I freak out.
He was probably very interested in your story. So you said that you were adopted, and then you picked up a camera. Did you go to college or high school?
I did. So I was homeschooled after elementary.
If I'm talking, I'm doing this, I'm protecting our conversation from this gnat. So continue.
You're good. So yeah, I did. I took a course in high school. I was homeschooled. I graduated at 16. If it's just chilling on my glasses right now.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, you know what?
So I was homeschooled. I graduated high school at 16. And from there, my dad was sick during that period of time. So I kind of took care of him. And then when I was like 18 or so, I got accepted like on a full whim, just a whim of me even applying to the Art Institute. I got accepted to their online division, and I was able to get my degree, my associate's degree in photography there. And as long as they're not like up in my face, we're good. But yeah, so I got my degree there, and I started shadowing other photographers and just learning what I liked and what I didn't like about everybody else's companies and what they did.
All right, the theme of this episode is her story and bugs. We're currently fighting through the struggle of bugs right here. I have no idea what they're in here.
You can clip this, okay?
But I remember everything you just said. Okay. Before we dive into that, actually, I'm just wondering, have you ever thought about the fact that when you do a self-reflection, like a introspective to yourself, when you mentioned earlier that you have this like deeply insecurity that you've grown up with, has it been influenced by the fact that you were adopted?
Because, 100%.
How did you live through that? Because most people out there, they often bury it, but the creative ones, we always drive our pain into the work that we do, and that's why we're so good at what we do. And I'm just wondering, how did you, as you grew up, how were you able to, for the lack of a better term, cope with that sense of loss into the work that you do as a creative?
So my parents are absolutely wonderful. When I talk about my parents, by the way, it's the ones who raised me.
Yes.
For the record. So yeah, my parents were very upfront, very honest with me for my entire life. My mom was, my earliest remembrance of her telling me that, I was adopted. It wasn't with the words, you were adopted. It was, mommy couldn't have a baby of her own. So some other lady was nice enough to grow you in her belly for me, kind of thing. And so it was like a very, very nice way of putting that, we may not be biologically related to a child, but that I'm still your mother. And you're still my child. Like that's
a powerful thing.
Yeah. So it wasn't ever that I didn't feel loved by my mom or my dad or anything like that. It was more when I got older and like those teenage years of like, well, who am I? Where did I come from?
Yeah.
Why didn't they want me? Why didn't my birth parents, why didn't they want me? Like what was so wrong about me that they didn't? It had nothing to do with my mom and my dad. It was all with me. And of like, where do you come from? Well, who are they? Well, who are you? Well, does who I am have any impact on where I came from before? How much does DNA play a role in your personality and who you are and who you become to be? Because I also didn't have siblings or anything like that. It was just me, my mom and dad. So it's like, were those the things I know now I didn't know then. And when I turned 18, I did end up finding my biological father.
Wow.
Yeah, he is actually in Pensacola. We're actually friends.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're friends. And
okay.
He's super, super cool. And I think the biggest thing with that is that he didn't come into meeting me as like, I'm your dad.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, I contributed to making you a person, but your parents are your parents. I just want to know who you are. Are you okay with me learning who you are? Just that. Like, I'm not your dad. I'm not, that's, so I have a very big thing with my parents. I'm a very much of a daddy's girl, as you've learned through talking to me the last couple months, is that like, I feel DNA doesn't play a part in who you become, not fully. That like the people you surround yourself with is the most important thing. And that as far as my parents, like I may call him my biological father, but my dad's my dad because he earned that right to be called my dad. My mom's my mother because she earned the right to be called my mother. That kind of thing, if that makes sense.
It does.
I do know my biological mother. I've had contact with her before. And her reasoning on things of why she gave me up and the things of that, it was like, okay, well, I have the information now. But it wasn't something I per se wanted to continue, I guess. So it was like, all right, well, I have my answers. Thank you so much for that. I hope you have, a good life and good experience. And we touch base, time to time throughout the year. But I am a lot closer to my biological father as a friend just because of how the situations were able to go down. I felt like he took a lot of accountability for, this was what happened. This is what didn't. This was my mistake. This was my regret. This is how it went down. And you were honestly better being taken care of by your parents. And she, on the other hand, had more of a like bigger plan to it and wanted me to be her daughter and this kind of thing. And I'm like, no, you don't have that right. Like, I'm not trying to be but like, you didn't earn the right to be called that. Like, I have a mom. She's the one who's been with me the last 20 years. She was the one that picked me up when I cried. She's the one who took care of me when I was sick, not you. Like, I appreciate answering the questions, but that was kind of it for me. Not that there's anything wrong with who she is. It's just, I don't know. It's just, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that I've spent my whole life trying to properly explain to people who don't have the same experience, I guess. But yeah.
You did a wonderful job. And and okay, there's a ghost in here apparently.
I'm scared.
Well, back to another episode with...
That scared the daylight.
I know, that scared me a little bit too. it takes a certain courage and strength and humility and bravery to accept that while you may not have been wanted, you are strong enough to find that for yourself without having to depend on them. Because our parents are often the ones that dictate and influence our lives. And that's something you can own for yourself, not them. You. So I want to let you know that too. Also, screw you, TV, for ruining a sentimental moment here.
No.
Anyways,
I do want to say this though before we move on.
Yes,
is that the family you have I've had the honor of making the family that I've wanted, if that makes sense.
Yes.
If I didn't have a biological family, and growing up, my parents, because my parents are also older. So when most people adopt, they're in their 20s, 30s. My parents were 42 and 43 when they adopted. Yeah. So they had spent 10 years trying to have their own baby, had adopted a child, lost that child.
Oh, no.
Had to take it back from them after like having custody of the baby.
Oh my gosh.
And so then having me, it's a whole thing. But they didn't have a very large family from their siblings. They didn't have all of that big family that most people do. So it really was just the three of us and like my two grandparents. That's a grandparent.
Oh my gosh.
And so I view it as an honor and a privilege now because I've had the honor of welcoming people into my life and saying they're family and calling them family. Like I've got 4 moms. I have 4 people out there that I call them. You're my other mom.
Yeah.
Because they've all been a part of my life. They've all been my aunts and my uncles and my siblings and all these people that most times you don't get to choose whether that's a good person or a bad person that you have in your family. I've had the honor of being able to do that and really welcoming people who I don't want to say deserve to be a part of my life and a part of my inner circle. I get to call them family because that's who I've always had.
What I found interesting is the way you describe your biological father as a friend, rather than a father, like with the labels. It reminded me of this saying, which was, as corny as it sounds, family is not often defined by blood, but sometimes friends are. It's not by blood, but it's also the friends that you have that you can call on as family.
Yeah,
and
that's the point of what I was trying to say.
Oh, dude, we needed the context to really understand who the hell is Autumn Phillips and how the hell you got to here, which you did a great job, by the way. Now, the second question that I wanted to have a follow-up question that when your experience with all of that growing up, how did that define your definition of love and the work that you do, and also into the family that you have built? How did that sense of abandonment and the way you carry yourself and finding what it really means to be a family, how did you define those words into the work that you do and the family that you have raised?
Oh goodness, that's a loaded question.
Oh hell yeah, Autumn, come on now. What did you? Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. How's the weather?
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Go for it.
Well, the weather, it's cold.
Oh yeah, it is. So go ahead.
It's not about DNA, whether they're your family or share the last name. It's about their actions. Whether do they show up and they show out? Do they show up when you need them? Are they there? And I look at that in my personal life. And for a long time, I was a part of an environment that wasn't that way, that wasn't supportive when I was younger. But in the last couple of years, I've kind of changed that up.
Yeah,
I got rid of the bad and the negative, and really looked at myself and reevaluated. And I put that life experience that I had into really making an experience for my couples that I bring in for my clients and their weddings, that I am not only their cheerleader. Like if I have a client, and I told a girl this the other day.
Yeah.
I was like, you get your decorations in the mail and you want someone to be excited with you, and like mom's not answering the phone or XYZ, call me. Be like, hey, send me a picture. I got my decorations in. I'm so excited. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, you got your decorations in. I'm so excited with you. Like, I want to be your cheerleader too. And like, if sometimes there's family dynamics on a wedding day that don't always work out, or that there's some tensions, I ask that in advance. I go, hey, are there any family dynamics I need to know about?
Oh, wow.
Whether if you get overwhelmed, do you want me to get people out of a room? Do you want me to give you a minute? I'm your guardian too. I'm a shield for you. Me and my associate, because I always have a second shooter with me. we are there throughout the whole day, the whole experience, the whole year and a half or so that we're planning your wedding, and then I'm a part of those meetings with your planner and everything. It's so important that you vibe with the person. And so in regards to your question of love and how you put that into it, that's my biggest thing, is like really showing up and showing out for whether it's personal family or friends that I call family, or whether it's clients, and showing up and kind of showing out for them and being them for them. Or if it's like they're overwhelmed on wedding day or we don't know what to do, like, okay, I got you. Yeah, are you okay with me doing this? Do you want me to put you in a room by yourself? Do you want me to go get so-and-so? Yeah, okay, bet, I got you. Like, it's just, I'm going to show up and show out.
Now, how did you define what love means to you when it came to the family that you've built?
Again, we show up for each other. There's no judgment. There's nothing that my inner circle could say or do that would change how I feel about them, that would make me not want to be friends with them or anything like that. Like, it's just be honest. I'm the most honest and brutal person. And it's probably like the best and worst thing about me.
Yeah.
Is that but you're never gonna not know what I'm thinking, I guess. Is there I used to be very laid. I'm still laid back, but I used to be very scared and very concerned with what other people think, because I think of the stemmed family, like not being adopted kind of thing. Like, no, they didn't even want me, so who would? Like, who wants to be friends with me? Like, my own parents didn't even want me. And that's not that anybody ever said that to me. That's me thinking that about myself growing up. So it's crazy of going through so many life experiences in the last 28 little years I've had, and getting to the point of not caring exactly of how things look, not caring what the outside perception of me is, of just being me. And that's probably the hardest and best thing I've ever really done. And I'm still avidly working about it. I walked in here and apologized like 3 times to you off the bat. And you're like, you don't have to do that. You don't
have to.
Like, you're right. You're right. That's a thing. It's a thing I do. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Now that we have dived into about her upbringing, that is how Autumn is. You are very brave for sharing that story. Thank you. Just like in the words of the Kung Fu Panda, Master Oogway said to Po, something about the passive future. Something about it. But that is why we call today the present. I'm gonna have to find a quote that's better than that. Anyways, continuing on. So you went back to so after having lived through that, now you are finally calling yourself a wedding photographer, and you've gone through all the world. But before we get into that too, how the hell did you even think? How did you know that photography was for you? Because I knew you said you just bought a camera and you started taking cute photos with that Walmart point and shoot camera. But how did you really? What was the moment for you that clicked? That I definitely want to do this forever.
Ooh, I have never not been artistic, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
I paint and I draw and I take pictures and I can sew. I can do a lot of different artsy things.
Yeah.
But photography wise, how did I know? Goodness. It's as much showing the world the way that I see it, as much as the reaction and emotion that people have when they see a photo that means something to them. If I communicate that properly. And I'm very much a vibe person. So when I direct clients or something like that, I'm all about the vibe and how it feels. I want you to look at something and be emotionally connected to it, not just say, "Oh, that's pretty." That's a pretty picture. I don't want that. I want you to feel something. I want you to be like, "Oh my gosh, yes, I love this." Or look at what was I doing? What were they doing?
Yeah.
Or like, what was I doing? Or what was that animal? What was that scene? Like, I want it to have a purpose.
Was there a piece of artwork that you can remember, not from a wedding photographer, but from your childhood era? Was there a movie or a photo or even a game or a book that really just like, whoa, it really touched you in a certain way that informed the way you tell the couple's story?
This may sound old fashioned. But I was raised very traditionally.
What?
Traditionally. So like a traditional Christian kind of setting.
Yeah.
And so like growing up, my mom and dad were very much like, don't ever take anything you have for granted and look at the creation that God God's given you. Look at,
Okay.
from the grains of the sand to the stars in the sky, kind of appreciation. And so my photography journey with a camera started really with that, the appreciation of nature itself.
Oh,
The
wow.
appreciation of being thankful of being on this earth and that. And for me, that, God didn't have to give us the sight, like to see in color, in such vivid color, to see as far away, or to experience life the way that the human body experiences life. And just appreciating those kinds of things and that kind of part of nature, and then pivoting that from nature's emotion, which may sound funny.
Wait, what? Nature's
emotion.
Nature's emotions.
So like the emotion of like from animals or anything like that, or just a scenery, because I'm a big mountains girl. So from the beach all the way to the Smoky Mountains, I have photos of them. I feel like they all have a feeling and some sort of emotion from them, whether it be from the time of day that they're taken in, to the season that the photograph is taken in. So communicating like a scenery to a person is the same way of like from the time of day to how that person's feeling, capturing that emotion in a picture and being able to relive that moment. That's what I tell my clients, is that whenever you get, whether it's from the time you get your gallery back or whether you're showing your grandkids your wedding photos 50 years from now, I want you to have the same emotion and the feeling that you have looking at the photo as you did when you lived that moment. So that's kind of part of my tagline, I guess.
I just have to say this. Nathan, I think you're right. Nathan is a previous guest that I had on Hidden Record, and he is a photographer in the commercial world.
Yes, I know. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Sasinski!
Yes, I see you.
Say hi to Sasinski for me.
Hey.
He expressed in the episode about how he wanted to capture things in God's image. And when you went on about how you wanted to capture the exact same way, I just found it really interesting, because there are photographers out there that want to capture for the sake of it looks cool, but it really depends who they are as part of their identity when it comes to interpreting the world as they see it. And for you, it was just like natural, timeless, and you're pouring what you believe in into the work that you do. And I was wondering with that, what is one part of the Christianity background that you try to uphold in the work that you do?
Oh, there's so many of it.
Go for it. Pick one.
I mean, are you talking artistically or just throughout my whole business aspect and dealing with people?
It really depends on which one has the most impact on the work that you do, though, because like...
I think it's more, even as far as art goes, I think it's more and always more about the people that you're photographing, the people you're communicating with. And I was listening to, you had, I think her name's
Annika.
Yeah.
Hi, Annika.
Hi. I was listening to that on the way down here, and I was like, that's such a good point. Yeah. And like, she has such a good point of like, it's always about the people. It's always about the people. It's always about the people you're talking to, communicating with, whether it be your client or whoever they are at that wedding, at that event that you're photographing. It's always about them. It's about the people. And because of that, how I display myself and carry myself through those events and through the planning process with my couples, it's so much about, I believe in kindness and very much being kind even when people aren't kind to you back, and having patience, but also knowing how to properly communicate. And I may not always word things the right way, because you'll hear me say a lot in this podcast. But the point of it is when something happens, I'm not just going to go, okay, all right, I'm not going to cower down if there's something that needs to be said. I'm going to be like, hey, we only have X amount of time. So I think that's important. And just like loving them.
All right, Casper,
Where you at, bro?
please leave us alone for a while. And then we will deal.
She wants to hang out with us too. That's the thing.
What?
She wants to hang out with us too. So like, like I said a minute ago, I want to be your cheerleader if you have
Yes.
something good happen. But I'm also on wedding days, there's tight timelines. And sometimes this year alone, I've gotten a lot of like, hey, we're going to do all this and you have 30 minutes to do it.
Yes.
I have to be up front, like to serve them well. I have to speak up at the same time. Be like, hey, I'm really good at my job, but I'm not a miracle worker. There's no way these 4 things are going to happen in a 30-minute time span.
Yeah.
Like, can we move something around? Can we add an hour? Can we find something somewhere to make this more doable, to capture all that you want in this time frame without things happen,
Yes.
without missing anything?
Yeah.
Because I feel like people are investing in me. And when you invest in me, I'm going to invest just as much back into you. If I want you to trust me and go, hey, you don't get do-overs on a wedding day. There's no creating the first kiss again. There's no creating the first time that the couple see each other again.
Yeah.
There's no first redo with dad on the first look. There's no redos on any of that. So it's like, you have to trust me implicitly. Whether it from my experience to my personality, to be able to handle that day from beginning to end, not flawlessly, but as flawlessly as possible and as the day will allow. And so I tell people on their phone call, on that introductory call that I have with folks, is like, hey, I'm going to be very honest with you. If I can do something, I'm going to make my best choice and put my best foot forward to make that happen for you. But also, if it's not doable, I'm going to tell you, like, hey, that's not going to happen. And I feel like that's just as being realistic is just as important as being your hype person kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's clear expectations. Everybody's on the same page and in the same book. And that, you're investing in someone you can trust instead of just hearing a yes man all the time and getting your gallery back and be like, well, wait, where's all this? What's that? What's this? Why are these here? And it's like, well, like we talked about it. There was this, there was that, there's timing problems here that were out of our control, or there was this or that. And I have to let couples choose, like sunsets in 10 minutes. Do you want to stop? We're behind schedule. Do you want to stop and continue family photos after this and take your couple photos now? That's your call. I'll do whatever you want to do. But if you want sunset photos that you told me were important to you, we need to go ahead and pause now and go do those and then come back. And that's a really hard thing for, I think, anybody to learn, to have to be able to speak up, because you're in front of a bunch of people that you don't know too.
Yeah.
So it's like, am I going to get a bunch of pushback from this? But it's like, they've trusted me and they're expecting me to keep them on time, expect them to get those photos. So it's like, I have to say, yeah, we can make this happen, but this is what we have to do to make it happen, or it's not going to work out, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. First, awesome way of describing your process. And second, there is actually one thing I wanted to draw. I wanted to connect the dots between your Catholic background to what you just described. So you mentioned that, okay, by the way, I'm not well versed into the religion because I've lost my way, but I'm trying to find my way back. Okay. I'm a lost sheep. Please help me. All right. Whoever is my shepherd, please help me find my way back. Anyways, there were a couple of things that I actually wanted to connect the dots. So if I understand correctly, with God, you have to, what he does, like you serve, one of them, there are so many core principles that you can always apply to not only just not into your personal life, but in business. And there were a couple of things that you mentioned that just sounded similar to what they practice in that belief. One of them you said was serving people. And the second one was you were talking about how trust, the same way you would put your trust into God, it's the same way that your clients are putting trust into you, because they respect everything that you've done and they know that you can get the job done. And the third thing that I also really appreciate what you said was how you were upfront about and being realistic while being able to be their cheerleader. That's not something that everybody has, or not everybody has the capability to learn yet, because that requires a lot of emotional intelligence and awareness with the amount of people that you're dealing with. So for all of that, seriously, you have to give yourself some congratulations, because that is an achievement on its own. How did you learn to balance between your beliefs in Christianity, and especially with the principles, not only into professional life, but into you as a person?
never assume I have all the facts.
Mm.
That's the biggest thing, because there's so many misconceptions about being a photographer, or just about, from me to you, of people communicating with each other.
Yeah.
Is that you can assume from either an outwardly appearance, or talking to someone for 5 minutes, or say you meet somebody in a grocery store and they may not have been the nicest person, or they may have rushed past you. You may automatically be like, well, why are they, like, what's wrong with them, or like that kind of thing. But you never know what they're going through. Don't ever assume you have all the facts of a situation. So it's making sure that I can stand for me, myself, and I to stand before God at the end of the day and be like, yeah, I did everything. Like, I hope I made you proud today. Like, I did everything. I lived my life today the best way I could, to be kind, to be honest, to be trustworthy to whoever it is that I meet and communicate with, and just never think that I know everything that's going on in their life, to judge them or make those kind of, does that make sense?
Yes. Yes, it does.
So many people on a wedding day, you meet people in business, so many avenues of people in life, and whether that's in my personal life or business life, like, I don't ever want to assume that I know what's going on with someone, or that I fully understand their situation enough to make a judgment, because just as sure as you think that, that's not the case at all. And there's been assumptions like that made about me in my lifetime, in my life, of like, oh, well, this and this happened with her, and that's just the way that it is. And it's like, I'm not going to even honor that with a response, but like, because you don't know the truth. You don't know the aspects of what my life was like at that time. So I don't owe you an explanation, so I'm not going to give it. So I try not to put that on other people either. Of like, if someone was rude to me, or someone sent me some sort of message or something, and I don't like it, or I don't understand why they had a tone, or why they had whatever it was with me, I try to make sure that I'm not just jumping to conclusions, because I don't know what their day was like. I don't know what's going on in their mind. I don't know. Are they suffering internally, and nobody knows that? You know, what's going on. So I always try to be kind first. I be kind first, and that's what I live by. And I think that's the biggest thing of having a relationship with God, and what it means to me is just be kind no matter what. Try to fight with kindness first.
You know, the very word that you just chose for yourself is kindness. That doesn't come naturally unless you have given a lot of time with forgiveness. And forgiveness requires a lot of awareness to just learn that not everything has to be the way you think. For example, this past weekend, it was a hard thing for me to do, and it took over, I believe it was 2 years, for a person that I had a lot of beef with, and it was through something so simple that just triggered the need. Because I was talking to my friend, do you know Abe Nab, if you by any chance? Such a cool guy. You're gonna meet him one day. He said he's down there. But yeah, hey, Autumn, make connections. Wonderful person. Anyways, it took a while it took something so trivial to get the sense of urgency within me to say, you know what? I think I need to talk to this person and forgive. And I didn't realize that without forgiving, I would have continued onto the path that would not have been the most ideal. It would have been filled with a lot of negative emotions that would still affect me into the work that I do every day. And I'm not going to forgive this net. There we go. Hi guys, Kino here. Just wanted to take a second to say thank you so much to each and every single one of you that has been with me on this journey for Hidden Record, and just sharing all these stories of all of the creatives that have appeared on the show. If you enjoy deep conversations like this, make sure to hit like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on a podcast platform like Spotify, make sure you follow that so you won't be out of the loop for every month, because I try to drop at least 2 episodes. So grab your popcorn and soda and let's get back to our conversation. The reason why I bring up that is because how did you take the first step into forgiving yourself as who you are, and then how you forgave your parents because of what they did, and how you understand the definition of forgiveness based on the family dynamics that you have seen with your clients?
Okay. So the first part of that, there was, I guess, the word forgiving of my biological parents for sure. But I also, because I was given the opportunity to meet them as an adult, even though a young adult,
Yes.
I was able to see that them making the decision to give me away or to let me be adopted by
Yeah.
other people was honestly the wisest and best choice for me.
Mhm.
That was given the situation that they had at the time, and that they weren't together, that really was the best thing for me. And looking back on that now as an adult, you don't understand when you're a kid.
Yes.
You just know, as a kid, like I said, my mom just said, somebody grew you in their belly for me because
Yes.
I can't. That doesn't make me love my mom and my dad any less. That's just like, well, wait, there's other people. So I wouldn't say it was as much. I guess I was angry at them for most of my childhood, at my biological parents, that is. But getting to know them and know who they are and what they went through, and knowing, again, just not making that quick judgment of, well, they just didn't want me, because that wasn't true. It wasn't that they didn't want me. They didn't think they could take care of me adequately enough that as I deserved. And so they said, you know what? The best thing for her is that we give her to a family that is going to give her all the love and all the care and be able to take care of her the way that she needs to. So that's probably one of my biggest lessons. And like making sure you have all the facts before you say something to somebody, before you make those judgments. Because I came forward as an 18, 19-year-old being like, why did you do this to me? Like, what is you wrote, what's the life that I could have had? And they're like, no, let me tell you. And so it's like, this is a situation at hand. And it's like, oh, all right. Okay, well then, yeah, I see why you did it then. I see why you made the choices back then that you did. I get that. And so with clients, it's I feel like I'm a broken record right now.
You're good.
And to bridge that gap with them is just to help them communicate. And at the end of the day, again, my clients have invested in me. They've trusted me. I'm going to put their mental and emotional health over anybody else there. I'm gonna be like, hey, they just don't want to see you right now. Like, give her a minute. We'll be right out. Y'all have this talk later. But today is not the place for that. I've had moms think that that's their wedding and their wedding day, and there are dads that they're paying for it. They're gonna get to do what they want, no matter what the bride or the groom, whichever side of the parent it is. And I'm just like, no, sorry. I'm with them. I understand that, but I'm their guardian today. I'm here to support them and help make sure, like, you guys, if this is a problem and y'all need to have this communicated later, that's totally fine. But now it's probably not the proper time. Let's not make anybody cry on their own wedding day. Like, let's move past that. Let's be kind for today, and we'll face those problems tomorrow, and y'all can communicate that together tomorrow when I'm not in the picture. But today's not that day. You don't want to ruin our wedding day, right? No, I'm not trying. Okay, well then let's take a breather. Why don't you get a drink? If there's photos, is that the other? Like, we'll settle that later. I'll make sure you get whatever it is that you want. But for here and for now, let's not go there today. I know you don't want to do that to them. And they're always like, oh, no, I didn't. And they're half the time they're just so in their own emotion. Whoever's kind of upset the couple, they're always just kind of so in their own emotion that it's when you kind of politely go, hey, are you sure this is the emotion you should be having right now? Like, can we sideline that emotion for now and come back to it without saying or making that either party make them feel like their feelings aren't valid?
Yeah.
Because that's not my place. I can't tell you how you feel. I can't tell you how you think. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. Don't tell me what I think. Don't tell me how I feel. You don't experience the world the way that I do, so let's not go there.
Emotional regulation and being able to communicate, emotional regulation and being able to understand that the way you are able to weave into the communication to understand that they have to feel seen and heard. Because you're right, people often subconsciously put their emotions first because it's gonna happen, and the ability to do that takes a lot of work. So audience, to the 10,000 souls that are watching this, give her applause.
Oh gosh.
Second, wow. Just wow.
I just genuinely want to help people. That's it. I just want to genuinely give people a good day, because there's so many bad ones. We have so much. Everybody's going through something. I don't talk to anybody a day in their life where there's not like, oh, I'm doing good, and then it's like, where's the but? Like, all right, what's going on? What's really going on? And so we have such a habit. It's like me and you were talking before we sat down.
Yeah.
Like, it's just good. Just good. There's so much more behind that, though. I sometimes I don't like being asked that question if I'm not good, because it's like I don't want to just pour out my soul to you right now, because it's not. We're just doing simple niceties.
Yes.
But like, there's so much. Everybody's going through something, and it all kind of leads back to just showing kindness to people and trying to understand them.
You know, there's this phrase, kill them with kindness.
Yeah,
I was trying to do that.
it's my rule. You want to be like, I'm sorry.
But remember, there's always room for you in this world and everything that you do. So never ever apologize for that.
And I've spent I found my voice about 3-4 years ago.
Really?
I found it's taken me that long. I found it mainly because of my business life, of like because I don't know if we're gonna get to this question or not, but starting out as a wedding photographer and like following around and learning from different people and different photographers, that kind of thing. I was scared to stand in the aisle, because that's where everybody walks down. That's where everybody's staring at you. You're in the middle of a wedding aisle, and it's like everybody can look at, like, I'm not trying to be center of attention right now, but I kind of have to be here to get that shot right there of the couple. And I was so scared. And they're like, no, you just have to do it. Like, no, you just have to do it. Someone's in your way. You just have to tell them to get out of your way. And I'm like, I didn't have that. I was so timid and so scared.
Really?
Yeah, me second shooting. I was just like, hi, no, oh, I'm sorry, I'm in your way. Like everywhere I looked, just
Yeah.
I was so nervous and so timid with everybody and everything. I didn't have a voice. I even went to the point in my personal life of changing who I was to make other people happy, to try to be included, to try to fit in with who I thought I needed to be around and who that environment was. And it's not until it's like you come to that moment of like, because I changed myself and my personality, and which is going to sound crazy. And I was wrong for this. I was very wrong for this. But I was early 20s. And change your personality is like, oh, they don't like me. Okay, well, who do I need to be? Who do I need to be for you to make you happy then? Like, how do I need to become? So I kind of pivoted to try to be that kind of person. And then it's like, oh, well, you're fake, or you're conceited, and you're this and you're that. I'm like, wait, no. What do you mean? What do you mean? No, that's not what I wanted to do at all. I just wanted you to like me.
Yeah.
So when you realize and you have that comeuppance of like, being yourself didn't work, being someone you thought they wanted didn't work. And I think that's the ADHD and the autistic part of me, that it's like you're trying to mold yourself into what makes other people happy. I was definitely a big people pleaser. And it's like when you realize that doesn't work either, and you're only hurting yourself and you're the one suffering in this personal thing, it's like, okay, we've got to call it. We've got to call something's wrong here.
Yeah.
And maybe, and why am I getting treated this way? Like, what's coming? Why? And it's like, oh, well, I'm allowing myself to be treated this way. Well, why am I allowing myself to be treated this way? And it's like, oh, you don't like yourself.
Oh, wow.
You don't like yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, what's wrong with me? And it's like you pick out a couple of things. Like, okay, I have this thing where it's like it's one thing to acknowledge that you may have a character flaw and to work on that and take criticism for that and be like, okay, well, I'm going to actively work on this.
Yes.
There's another for just browbeating yourself for no reason. It's a whole other thing.
No, I get that one.
And so when I realize that that's what I'm doing. I'm doing this, and I don't deserve to be treated this way. I don't deserve what I'm getting from other people, from my inner circle, and I don't deserve what I'm giving to myself. I need to show up and show out for myself. And so after COVID, that's pretty much what I did. I broke everything down. I rebranded my business. I worked on myself. I stopped associating with all the people that I was at the time.
Wow.
And it's like, all right, so who do I want to be? Who does Autumn want to be in here and be on the outside? And I found my voice, and I said, all right, I'm speaking up for myself. I'm not going to endure this. I'm not going to take this. This is what I am, and this is what I'm not. And I have been that way since. It's just like I am me all the way around.
No, Autumn, be quiet. This is my podcast now. And then you can now. You have to show me your voice.
But no, just kidding. I'm out. What are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. You're great.
No, that's like
I'm sorry. I might get too serious.
Do not
I,
get too...
I'm,
No, shut up.
all right. You're right. You're right. Like I said, I can take criticism in that as well.
You're good.
You're right.
What would you say to the Autumn before? What would you say to her now? Looking back on your progress, what would you say to her being in the position to finally be so happy with who you are? What would you say to her?
You'll find yourself eventually. You may have to get dragged through the mud a little bit, but you'll find yourself and you'll be better for it. Because most people say they live with regrets and they have all these things.
Yeah.
No, the trauma I went through, the things I endured, it made me who I am now. Like I wouldn't be who I am right now. I wouldn't be such a confident business owner or a confident person. And as you've seen in the beginning of this, like I'm still, it's an active day-to-day thing of working on it. I have really bad anxiety. I have all kinds of things. But it's like, do I let those stop me, or do I let it be an obstacle that I have to move out of the way, or do I let it be a wall that stops me? And that's what I teach a lot of my mentees and people that I mentor is like, so you have a 9-to-5 and you want to be a photographer, you have kids, or you have this. Like I also take care of my dad. So it's like you have these things, but do you let them be obstacles that go, okay, well, it may delay my progress from point A to point B for X amount of time, or I need to find a plan of how to work with the obstacle to make it not an obstacle anymore? Or do I see it as a wall that's just going to completely shut me down, that I'm not going to be able to continue to go forward? So it's really a mindset.
Guys, did you get that?
Your mindset is everything. Your outlook on life is everything. And so if you're embracing negativity and you're going to be negative, if you're around sad people, you're going to be a sad person. And it's one thing if there's a reason for that, but just people who are habitually that way is what I'm talking about.
It's exactly what you said earlier. The people too. Because not only are you choosing the right people, you're also choosing the choice of finding the better future for yourself.
Yeah.
And God, what you just said hit me right now because I'm at a place where I'm trying to find an option to make everything not an obstacle. Have you met Amanda, by the way? Amanda Hensley, makeup artist. I shoot with her.
I have the worst person with names. If you show me a photo, I can tell you whether I know them or not. But if you're like, do you know so-and-so? I'm going to be like, I have no idea.
You're good.
I'm not a names girly. Oh, she's so cute. I don't think I've met her.
You are gonna meet her.
Okay, bet.
But okay. Long story short, the reason why what you said really affected me right now is because I'm at a position where I'm trying to find options where the things that are so important to me in my life, I'm trying to make sure that anything that I decide doesn't turn them into an obstacle. Because as much as we want to have everything, but there are decisions that we will face that might require giving up some of those in order to turn the obstacle that we're facing into a possibility for the sake of whether it's for a career or for your own personal reason. And that is why what you said touched me, because I'm trying to figure that out.
And just the hardest thing it isn't even just deciding whether this thing is going to be an obstacle or a wall. It's deciding how to handle that obstacle in a way that is authentic to you. Because how I would handle the obstacle won't be how you handle the obstacle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's your mindset and your, I guess I say perceived reality, because everybody's experiences in life are different. So that perceived reality for each of us is different, because that is our reality. It's just perceived differently by other people. And until you're okay with being like, no, this is my situation, I don't have to explain it to you.
Yeah.
And handle that situation authentically to yourself, to where at the end of the day you can still sleep at night, and that you can answer. For me, I say as long as I can answer to God at the end of the day and be like, all right, I did everything I could to be peaceable with all men, to be true to myself, to be an honest human being, like to be authentic to me and who I am. Like that's what I'm going to do, because at the end of the day, I have to answer to myself. I have to answer to myself. I have to answer to God. So it's like whatever that is, you be able to answer to yourself and live with yourself to where you don't have regrets.
Okay, I think this is my therapy now. How
No,
much
it's
do
just
I pay you for your?
I just care so much. I care so much about everything and everybody. My my husband says it's one of my best and worst traits as well, because it's like
Yeah.
I care so much about people, and it's like you can't. It's like, Autumn, you can't fix everybody. You can't fix everything. I'm like, no. I don't want to fix their problems for them. I'm incapable of that. I can barely handle myself.
Yeah.
If people knew that if you just try to be hopeful, if you just persevere, you're hopeful about yourself and that you can do things better. Like, I've lived that. I've done that. I've been that person. I've been the person that was just like, I'm ready to just go back to dust, man. Like, I'm tired of what I'm going through. I'm tired of what I'm dealing with. I've been there and done that. But now to be on the other side of that and have a whole different perspective on life,
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful transition for me, at least. Like, it was tough. It hurts, and it hurts for years. But coming out on the other side of it, it's a beautiful thing.
What was the sacrifice or sacrifices that you had to make to pursue the career that you have now?
Career-wise, I've always been very supported by other people.
Yeah.
By my inner circle, my family.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just having to double dose, because like just this year alone, we'll just talk about this year. My dad's been sick for 10 years now, and I take care of him. But I've had to put photography not on a back burner, but kind of like up there, because my parents are number one for me. They're everything for me. They've done everything for me. So I'm going to take care of them as best I can. So wait, what was the question? I got lost.
What was the sacrifices that you had to make this year?
It's been a slow process. I've dealt with a lot of different things, but I'll just focus on this year with my dad. This time last year, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yes, you're good.
This time last year, I was freaking out because it was like, I don't really have a spring season. I don't have many weddings booked. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I've done wrong. Like, do I just hang it up if I failed? Like, am I a failure with all of this? And my husband was just like, no, Autumn, there's a reason. Like, whatever it is, just trust that there's a reason. You're not, like, it's not you. I had my own mentor. I paid for my own mentor session kind of thing, to get advice from another professional. Like, hey, evaluate me. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. They're like, no, you're really not doing anything wrong. Like, here's a couple things for social media that you could get better at. Like, grow that. And but really, you're doing really well. I don't know why you're not booked or whatever. So it's like, okay, I don't know, what do I do now? And then my dad has spent most of this entire year in the hospital.
Yeah.
So I spent most of what would have been my spring season. If I was booked out every weekend, I wouldn't have been able to be there to take care of my dad. I would have been able to drive my mom back and forth from the hospital and back. I wouldn't have been able to do all of those things. So I would really call that maybe a sacrifice. But I feel like it worked out the way that it needed to be worked out, so that I could take care of who I needed to take care of.
I don't think that's like something you should ever.
Like, I don't really know if that probably doesn't answer the question as far as a sacrifice.
No,
it's more just time, just sacrificing time, because you don't get that kind of thing back. I'm sitting this week. I've been sitting in a hospital room all week long and editing photos and trying to plan out social media posts with, like, not really letting anybody kind of know, because I want my page to be a lot more of a positivity kind of thing. Like, hey, I am delayed. Like, hey, I'm a little behind on this. I'm very honest to people of, hey, I am. And it's like, I'm really sorry that I'm behind on this, but this is kind of what's going on. But yeah, just time and being able to try to run a business from a hospital room sometimes.
I think Autumn, that's a worthy sacrifice, because no one will ever remember what we're doing, what kind of LUTs we're using, what kind of settings we're even making, with how much hue, saturation. Should I destroy this image with a lot of grain? I don't know. No one will ever remember the tiny things that you've done for your clients. Clients are they're not going to go away. There's always going to be more clients. And the reason why I think it's a worthy sacrifice is that while you might lose out on many amazing clients, you will not lose out on the time that you have spent with your dad, especially the way they have helped you from the beginning.
Right.
That is the one thing you will always be able to take to all the way to your grave, even.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not going to have any of the shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah.
Because I did. I always showed up. despite whatever the trials was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I wish I did with my grandma. But, I've discussed it multiple times in the other episodes, just like lots of should have. I'm in the exact opposite. Lots of should have, would have, could have. And it's something that I'm at a better place now, but it's something that still deeply affects me, even in the work that I do, even in the work that I put to develop myself as a person. And even hearing your story, it just is a reminder that we all need to work on the things that we should have been better at. And that's why thank you for sharing that story.
I see the thing about it too is with your experience, whatever that experience was, you learned something. Well, with whatever it was that you went through, if you feel like there were things that you could have done better, you let that experience change you, and you learned from that experience. You didn't just go, okay, yeah, that happened, and moved on. You weren't blind to whatever it was that you saw on you looked upon yourself and you said, hey, I could have done better, and you let that change you to where I guarantee you won't ever let that happen again if you had that same scenario with anybody else. Does that make sense? So it's not, I still wouldn't say look at it as a negative, because it's not, because you learned and you're changed and you're better for that. That was a gift that person was able to give you in that experience that you went through.
Oh, parents, even though as annoying as they were when we were little, the best feeling that I ever got was now understanding that they were still figuring things out at the same age. And God damn it. Anyways, now we're gonna dive into I don't want to cry tonight. I don't want to cry. I'm not ready for that. Anyways,
I've been crying all week. It's okay. It's all right.
Before we dive into the career aspect, I want to give you the opportunity to say this or answer this question.
Okay.
What would you say to people that are dealing with ADHD? And then you said sensory issues, and did you say autism or?
I'm on the spectrum, but it's not. I'm like a very high functioning. Like it's very, very low.
Never.
But having ADHD kind of puts you on that spectrum.
One thing I hate when people say is with the condition, please don't ever define the rank of whatever that is. It's just as important as every other condition. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to offer some level of hope, some words of hope for those that want to do the same thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
That are struggling with those.
Don't be afraid to do things the way that you want to do them. Because the way that I process things, the way that I come at my business, that I build my business is a way that is functional for me. The way I have a bucket in my house that if something doesn't belong there and I don't want to put it up, it goes there till the end of the week when I go, okay, well, this is cleaning day. I'm going to pick this bucket up and put everything where it goes now, kind of thing. If that makes sense. Yeah. Don't be afraid to run your life the way that you want just because society or whatever, clean all in one day or do this all in one day, that kind of thing. You don't have to. Because for example, this is something my husband has ADHD too, so we get along really well on that. But our tics are different, if that makes sense. Because for me to say like cleaning the kitchen, you would say it's just one task. Like that is the task of cleaning the kitchen. But for me, it's 10 tasks because you have to empty the dishwasher. Oh, wow. You have to reload the dishwasher. Yeah. You have to get everything off the counter and put that in the dishwasher. You have to wipe the counters off. You have to shake the rugs. You have to clean the oven or whatever it is. You have to sweep and then you have to mop and then you have to put the rugs back down and then the kitchen's clean. It's 10 tasks compared to the one. That's my thing. To where most people would just be like, yeah, you got to clean the kitchen. That's like a whole breakdown of tasks. Right. I can't just, clean the kitchen. It's not one task. It's 5.
Yeah.
And I had this thing of like, well, I had to do it all at once. I had to do, or if there were dishes that didn't fit in the dishwasher, I couldn't stand it because I had to wash them.
Yeah.
And I saw this video on social media somewhere. I think it was TikTok or something. And they were like, just wash it again. Just run the dishwasher again.
Yeah.
Like it goes through. I know that's the simplest. And I probably sound absolutely nutty for this.
Yeah.
But it's like, why didn't I ever think of just not being stressed out by the dishes still in the sink. Why didn't I just run the dishwasher again?
Yeah.
Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
So yeah, just don't be afraid to have a system that works for you. Your system doesn't have to conform to societal norms or to anybody else's system or the way they run their business or the way they run their lives or the way they run their errands.
Yeah.
Or how they deal with people or communicate with other people. Just find the system that works for you and do that.
There you go. To you all,
Don't be afraid.
ADHD. There's ADHD. I don't know. Like there's
many
killers. Okay, that's very wrong word to choose. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here because I don't want to say any other words because I'm
cancel.
Huh?
Cancel
me. Do it. Okay, but now
kids.
That's a great segue.
Kid.
With the way you think, the way you process things, how were you able to formulate a plan and a business? The way you run your business, how did you combine what you had to learn to live with and to making sure that the business works for you?
Ooh. How did I make it work for me?
Yes.
I just run my system. I just make the system fit.
Yes.
So how did I do that? I don't know. A lot of trial and error.
As everything
A
should
lot of
have.
trial and error.
Yeah, I bet.
That's a lot of, because I used to struggle a lot with answering emails quickly
Okay.
because I was using two different systems. I had like an intake form from like one advertising company, but then I would have to physically take their information, put it into the other one.
Okay.
And then I never got around to it. I would miss jobs over the last, few years prior because I couldn't email them back quick enough, or I didn't ask for a phone number, or I didn't get it, that kind of thing. So trial and error on like finding a system that I wanted to invest in that worked for me so that I could run the backside of the business properly, because it's not as fun as taking the pictures and editing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
This thing, I can hyper focus on something for hours and be like, oh, I edited that whole gallery in today. All right. But at the same time, the things that I don't like that don't give me the dopamine up here,
Yes.
It's like I'd rather do anything else. It's like answering an email or something. And I please don't take this the wrong way, folks. I love talking to y'all, but I'm terrified of talking to y'all.
Oh my gosh.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like I have to be able to talk to you and talk on the phone and answer the phone and answer the questions. I can answer your questions. I have the knowledge.
Yes.
But sometimes it takes the tism, and I'm like,
Do you have to find yourself in the right mood to do it? Because
I have to have the right circumstances in that day.
Okay.
Like I take appointments like 2 days a week.
oh wow, okay.
I have 2 specific days that I've mentally prepared myself for the entire week. Like, hey, you're sitting down and you're doing office work Tuesday afternoon after 4:00. From this time to this time, because that's my system. That's how I have to trick my brain into doing the things that it needs to do, because it doesn't want to do them naturally.
Which so you're saying if you're on the, yeah, hi, my name's Autumn. I want to get off. I don't want to do this. Is it like that kind of dual voices that's going on at the same time? And I can't imagine how mentally exhausting that can be.
It's me having my desk and like knowing I have an appointment at 5:00 and be like, okay, we have the appointment at 5:00. What do we need to do? We need to prep ourselves. Oh wait, Barkley needs to go outside. I let Barkley out and it's 5:00. Where did the 15 minutes go? What happened? I didn't just stare into space for 15 minutes. Did I stare into space for 15 minutes? All right. And then I have to like run, grab my notebook and then I feel like I'm scrambled for something. Does that make sense at all?
Yes.
Because it's like yeah.
You just feel like you need a structure to keep.
But it's
things.
trial and error of finding the structure that works for you. So it's, again, my structure and my system may not work for everybody.
Yeah.
This kind of thing. But for me, I have to set appointment times in the afternoon when I've already eaten and I know I'm going to be in like a good frame of mind so that I'm not nervous on the call, because people can pick up on that. If I call and I'm like, oh, hi. And then I go, yeah, and this is how I do this. And what was I saying? And why was I saying it? Like, if I have that kind of attitude about it, it's not going to come off as
professional.
As not even just professional, but as trustworthy. If my whole gig is for you to trust me and me to sell you on trusting me.
Yes.
Being like, hey, you're investing thousands of dollars into me for this. Like, you can trust me. If I can't answer your question because my brain's not in the proper thinking pattern for that moment, like that has failed me multiple times. So it's like, okay, well, you don't think as clear in the morning as you do in the afternoon. So schedule your appointments in the afternoon, schedule your calls then, and kind of keep things systematic so that I can work it properly and give clients my best foot forward.
Now we're going to do the opposite side. With this bucket that you have set at home, what is the equivalent of the bucket that you had to deal with in your work? What were some of the things that you had to put into the bucket to make sure that your mental space is full of free space that you can focus on, that you can allocate to the things that are the most important? So what are some of those things that you had to deal with in this career?
So you mean, just to make sure I understand your question, like what are some things that like I can't handle at that moment, so I kind of put them aside to deal with?
Yes, and then you have to remove. It's kind of like the conversation that we talked about. So there are photographers that were identified as scammers, but when they were really not.
Yeah.
There are some weddings that you took on so many weddings. Yeah. How did you walk through that hell?
In regards to having a bucket, it's just being able to communicate still clearly, like we discussed a little bit earlier, of as much as I want to be your cheerleader and stuff, like if you text me at 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30 at night, and my brides do all the time, or sometimes on a Saturday, they're planning their wedding while I'm working one. So it's kind of like I have to kind of sit you on the shelf, but I'm not just going to leave you unread either.
Unfortunately, guys, we are running out of time. I get lost into the conversation, and please, in the comments, let Autumn know that she did wonderful. You really did wonderful. Like, seriously, all the questions that you have answered are filled with so much value, and you are going to help somebody. Whether that's not going to be acknowledged or not, trust me, you're doing good.
Well, thank you.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
Lightning round, guys. It's lightning round.
Let's go.
All right. So, lightning round. How are you able to, actually, let me first, Miss Phillips, or Mrs. Phillips, sorry. How are you first? Question number one. How did you deal with clients that are not very receptive to the pricing model that you have chosen to make profit for your business? Go.
Oh, pricing model. That's really easy. We may not be the best fit to work together.
Okay.
That's okay. I offer as many payment plans as I can. I do a certain percentage down, and if it's like, we're going to get into in a minute that I've had clients that are like, hey, I'm getting married in 6 weeks. I haven't heard from my photographer, or they dipped out on me, or I think I got a scammer. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, okay, well, if I am available on this date, we're not mid-wedding season, I try to negotiate or kind of do what I can, to work with if they have a specific budget. Because it's all about the people. It's all about them. So if I can serve you and I can make you happy and take that stress relief off of you and give you the confidence you have someone you can trust as your photographer for that day, and it maybe a little different, if it's like a short notice kind of thing, then I'll work with you as best as I possibly can to make sure I pay my bills and pay my employees, and that you get top-notch service.
We just heard that Connecticut just switched to wanting to vote for Autumn for the presidential candidate
no.
for being the best photographer. You just want one state. Next question. We're hoping to win Iowa this time. With this question, here we go. What is the best work that you've done recently? Spoiler alert, Santorini. Please walk us through that experience and how you were able to...
This is what we should have spent all our time on, is this ridiculous story.
Go.
So it was the best and worst trip of my life. I land in Athens. I kid you not, and Athens is on fire.
What?
Athens was on fire. There were wildfires everywhere that started. I was on a 13-hour flight. Not Santorini. I landed in Athens, and we flew out to Santorini for the day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So on the project that I was on, we were flying there, and while we're like crossing the ocean, wildfires broke out all across Athens. So we get there, and the Airbnb and everything we're supposed to be staying at for the event is under evacuation. So God. I got off. I got sick landing. When we landed, we'd been in the air so long, and I get motion sickness.
Oh my God.
I got sick as we landed the plane. Yeah. So I had that I was dealing with. I had a really bad migraine because of everything I just dealt with, and all this flight, because I was flying by myself. It was the first time I'd ever flown anywhere for that long by myself. I was absolutely terrified. And I proceeded to spend the next 10 hours in the Athens International Airport while everything was on fire. I kicked out of our Airbnb. The hosts and everything that were in charge of it all were trying their best to like find us other accommodations, fix everything, save some of the shoots. Like it was crazy. But yeah, that was how it all started. That's
Okay.
But once we got to the couples and to the event itself, we got to hang out at a winery. We did a lot of shoots. It was a lot of fun. Ticketism's ticking, but it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Don't go to Greece in August.
Especially
It's
when
really hot. It's really, really hot.
Well, being the biggest step that we all can take as a creative is going. Literally, for you, you went into hellfire. You took the first step into being uncomfortable. Why was that so important for you when it came to growing as a creative? The fact that was that the first time out of the country?
No, that was the first time for work out of the country.
Oh, wow.
That was my first time for work out of the country. But I had been to Barcelona, Spain in 2019 before COVID hit. So I've only been out of the country twice.
So with that experience, what did that reveal about you that you were so proud of?
Honestly, just the fact that I did it. It was like, I did this. I worked so hard and I did this.
What was it on? I saw, Annika, she has a page on her website where it's like a bucket list.
Yeah.
Is this part of the bucket list?
Yeah. So the personal side of this trip is that I said, I'm a Christian, so it's like, Greece is where the Acropolis and everything is.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul gave a sermon there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd always said, and I'm still going to do this, but I was like, just in case this is coming first now, that I wanted to walk the same roads and stuff out of Italy that the Apostle Paul did.
Whoa.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going there. I'm going to Greece for work. So I was like, but you know what? The Apostle Paul still gave a sermon there, so I still can say I stand and stood where he was. And so I got to do that. That was like the best personal accomplishment that I got to do that I've said I was going to since I was like 8 years old.
Give yourself some clap. Yes.
Accomplish things.
Okay.
But yeah, I learned a lot about myself that I can hack a lot of things alone more than I thought I could. I was very adventurous, and I'm not normally. So I'm a nervous Nancy. If you guys haven't gotten this far, I'm a nervous Nancy.
Nancy?
Nancy. It's just a figure of speech.
Nancy. That's the first time I've heard of it.
A nervous Nancy. That might just be my mom thing. There's a lot of things that my mom says that I have learned in my adult life that nobody else on the planet says, but it's normal for me because it's normal for her.
The only reason why I was so confused because that reminded me of the one famous, or used to be famous, detective that's fictional, Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
Nancy Drew. Okay, that's the first time I've heard of it. Nervous Nancy?
Nervous Nancy, yeah.
All right, I'm going to start calling everyone I know nervous.
Go ask my mom of like, where did you get this?
Yeah.
Has anybody else ever said this? Or is this just an us thing?
Miss Phillips, I invite the invitation to be on my podcast to just simply talk about one topic. Where did Nancy...
Oh, Lord, don't get her on here.
Okay.
Anyway, lightning round.
I just heard that we have won Iowa. We need to get other 50 states. But the other thing was with the creative business. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
How do you learn to delegate your work? Because every work that we do, we treat it like our baby, and we have a hard time to let it go.
Yeah.
So, what was the hardest thing that you had to learn to let go of because you knew that it was the right move to improve yourself as a business person and as a creative? What was the hardest thing that you had to let go?
I had to find people I could trust. That was it. I had to find, and I did. I have a team of. My husband's actually joined my team this year too. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just finding people you can trust. Just finding somebody who has the right personality, and you have the right personality for the job to be a wedding photographer. Because if I'm going to tell you now, if you're in photography or wedding, if you're in photography or the wedding business for money, don't do it. You're not going to last. If you're in it for purely money, don't do it. You're not going to last. Don't even bother trying. Because if you don't have the personality, if you don't have the patience to handle such high good emotions and high bad emotions some days, don't do it.
I mean, that literally...
Just be honest with you, don't.
It's literally what you did. You went through hellfire, and still made sure that the couple is so happy with the pictures that you took. That right there, you know what that looks like, guys? Someone with passion. If you're in it for the money, you're probably just gonna be like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I've been doing this for over 8 years now, and it's like the money will eventually come. The money will eventually come. You just make sure that you're treating people properly and you're putting your best foot forward artistically, and you'll get there. You just keep working at it. You'll eventually get there. And don't see your obstacles as walls.
See, that's the hardest thing is like, I recently turned 26 and I'm not at the place where I used to think as 18, where it was like realizing that time and money or time and energy, we have two limited resources, time and energy.
Yep.
And hardest part about that was learning where to put them, especially after the fact that you spent 8 years, it's like not knowing how things are going to work out, but you still continue to give your time and energy in hopes that it will work out.
Yeah.
That takes...
And it's because I love what I do and I love people. It's not because I'm like, money.
Yeah.
That's not the reasoning. But in regards to the question, just to make sure you find people you trust, I've had the honor of meeting a couple amazing people. Shout out to you, Baldwin. He's my associate. He's like the only person that I've had the honor of getting to know and getting to work with and getting to know him and his beautiful family that I would trust to be like, yeah, I know you can handle a wedding day for me because I know he's going to handle the people properly, not just the artistic aspect. He's got the artistic ability hands down, but I trust him more than I trust anybody else because I trust how he's going to handle those clients. I trust how he's going to handle those people. So I trust him to go anywhere with me or to handle clients without me there. That kind of thing. It's just focus on people.
Wonderful answer, Miss Phillips. Okay, last question, and now we're going to the wrap up.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Now that you've gone into this business 8 years, ever since the inception of you being born on this earth to discovering the camera, that was what you would call a Walmart point-and-shoot camera, to learning how to balance between your personal life, taking care of your parents, and having to live with the fact that you were adopted, to now making this career possible and successful for you. Going forward into the future, there are two things that we and the 10,000 souls that are watching through this camera. The first question is this. What would you want your legacy to look like because there will be a time when we can say our time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
What is your legacy and what does your legacy look like?
I think I'd have to say is that I did everything I could to treat everybody the right way.
Okay.
That I put my best foot forward, and artistically is that I cared enough about each little moment. Because it's all the little moments that make the big ones. It's not always the standing at the, in regards work-wise, the standing at the altar saying I do. Sometimes it's the private vow reading that nobody else saw that prior morning. Or it's the little moments that mom put my necklace on or your first look with your dad, that kind of thing. It's the little moments that count. And so I want to make sure that people go, yeah, she caught every little moment. She valued every little moment that she had. She didn't put anything for granted. She did everything she could. I'm sorry. I'm starting to cry, and I'm not going to cry. But you take the time with every individual that you can, and that's what's most important. And
Good answer. And then the second one is, what is the weakest part of you that you're still learning to work on?
I'm still learning to love myself every day, every little day. You work a little bit harder to love yourself just a little bit more and to do things that keep bringing out the authenticity in me without losing any other part of me.
Okay, so guys, we're out. I got no more time. If time wasn't real, I would do this forever for every other guest. I wish I could. But we will always have her in the future. Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
See?
I'll be here.
See, time. We'll buy more time. But can you drop your socials and where can people find you, the website, everything that you have that's related to it? I would love for you to drop that right now so they can find you.
Yeah, so basically everything I have is Autumn & Co. Photography. It's Autumn & Company, but Instagram-wise is at Autumn & Co. Photo. So it's CO Photo. And then website-wise, it's www.autumnsphotography.com.
And what are your availabilities for the couples out there that are looking for a great photographer? Ooh. What are your availabilities like?
Right now, I'm presently booking. I'm almost booked up for spring, so I'm focusing on summer 2025 up to summer 2026 right now.
Good.
Yeah.
Couples.
Can hit me up.
DM her, okay?
I have a lot of fun announcements coming in the first of the new year, too. I have a lot of fun announcements coming on my pages for the first of the year. We have a lot of fun things happening.
Ooh.
I can't talk about them yet, but they're coming.
Yeah, NDA guys, sorry. And then now, any last words that you have never been that I never got to give you a chance to speak out on?
I tell everybody to capture the action. You have to be in the action. So don't be afraid to show up and show out. Put yourself in the center of attention. Sometimes it's really hard. It's really scary. For me, it was, and it still is every single time I do it. But you learn a lot about yourself, and you get to meet a lot of cool people when you're not scared to show who you are and be authentic to who you are.
All right, guys. That is it for Hit and Record. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for today's episode on Hit and Record. Thank you so much for sticking with us, and I do hope that today's episode was insightful and also it gave you some kind of fresh perspective in your creative journey. If you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast platform, a quick review is definitely going to help. It helps other people find us. And for those that are watching on YouTube, make sure you drop a comment down below or a question, because I would love to see what your thoughts are. If you have any takeaways, advice, insights, anything of the sort, I'd love to see what you guys have. And most importantly, I hope you guys can take away a lot from these conversations, especially if you have hearing loss or disabilities, because I want you to know that you are not limited by your condition and that you are more than just that. Thank you so much for watching. Stay inspired, and I'll see you all in the next episode.